welcome back to Unite's channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Emmy. I've been making videos here on this channel for quite a while now, and today's setup is a little bit different to the usual one that you probably have seen before. Today's video is a little bit of a more serious topic, so we're going to keep things quite chill today while we chat about drinking at university, which can be a pretty stressful topic for some students, especially freshers before going to university, or if you're thinking about joining a sports or society. So I'm basically going to go through a bit of my experience and some background information on me and things like that, and then we're going to get into what it's like to not drink at uni. Hi, I'm Emmy. I'm 21 years old. I am in my 5th year of university here in Scotland. We have 4 years for a degree instead of 3 like England. So I did 2 years of photography and then I switched. I got a diploma for that. Now I'm in graphic design. I'm in my 3rd year. I'll be leaving at the end of this year. But because I started so long ago, I actually started university when I was 16 years old. So I was pretty young, and believe it or not, but I didn't start drinking until I turned 18. I was very much a goody two-shoes. Like, I just had no interest in it. I never went clubbing. I never had a fake ID. I never had anything like that. So when I had my 18th birthday, I was in my 2nd year. After Freshers Week and everything, I turned 18, so I didn't have my first Freshers Week until 3rd year of university, but I started drinking in my 2nd year. So after my 18th birthday, I was your typical fresher, even though I had already been at uni for 2 years. I was going out like 4 times a week. I was, what you would say, binge drinking quite heavily. I'd go through like a bottle of vodka every prise, wine, mixing drinks, a lot of things that were just a terrible idea of what not to do when you start drinking. But obviously when you're young and you haven't drank before, you sort of just try everything. So it is quite a lot of trial and error. It can be very fun, but it's also so easy to overdo it. So I started to not really like who I was when I drank, because I would just overdo it so much that I was like blacking out, not really remembering things, and that's the worst, because that's when you get the fear, just crippling anxiety and like stress of what you can't remember, or things that you did and said the night before that you don't want to have to deal with the next day. Yeah, and then also with like drinking a lot, you start to like want food after a night out, which is standard, nothing wrong with it. So like McDonald's and things, kebab shops that were open, pizza. And then when you're hungover in the morning, you just sort of order, or at least I would order, like takeaways and things. And obviously when you're doing that like 4 nights a week, you're just gonna start gaining weight. So I was pretty much like getting the fear, regretting a lot of stuff, embarrassing myself, drinking too much and getting like the worst hangovers ever. It would start to affect like my weight. I started putting on weight, not being happy with like how I looked and how I felt. I was way more tired than I was before, and I also started missing classes, because obviously I'd go out and I'd have class the next day. So I'd start missing classes because I'd be too hungover to go in and wouldn't want to, so I'd just miss them, and then I would start getting stressed because I'd fall behind in my studies, and it just became like this big cycle. So many people have gotten into this cycle before, and it's just not a great place to be. But like the biggest thing is that it does deteriorate your mental health over time, because obviously we go back to that cycle that I was just talking about. You're going out, you're going to have a good time, you say that you're going to go to class tomorrow, you end up overdoing it and you don't go to class, and then you stay in bed and you're hungover and you feel terrible, and then you miss an important day of class, and then you're behind in your studies, so then you're stressed for the next time you go to class, and then usually the next week I just wouldn't go anyway. So then it ended up being like 2-3 weeks of me just like not going to class, falling behind, feeling extra stressed and anxious about everything, and then it's sort of easy for it to sort of spiral like that. Obviously not everyone is like this when they drink. This isn't just from drinking, this is just from like overdoing it regularly. But this is sort of like an overview of what sort of made me want to stop drinking, or at least as much as I used to. After like my first year of drinking, and realising that I just could not handle my alcohol because I was a lightweight, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a lightweight at all. It has its perks. But I decided that I wanted to start learning how to handle my alcohol and drink responsibly. So I cut back significantly And I learnt to only drink low alcohol drinks because with vodka, every single person is different with their alcohol. Some people can drink certain things, some people can't. Everyone's tolerances are so different, but personally I don't like white spirits. I don't like drinking them at prees or anything like that. I don't mind them in a cocktail. I love a good cocktail, but drinking like a half bottle just wasn't, you know, it hit me too late. I drink too much, it was easy to overdo, especially when you're freehanding and all of that. So I decided to stick to like already mixed drinks and like pints and things like that, things that had like a low percentage of alcohol, because I knew that every drink I was drinking the same amount of alcohol, and I felt a lot more in control. And I could also personally feel the effects of the drink faster than when I drink spirits. So like on an average night I'll drink like 1 to 3 pints or VKs or WKDs or anything like that, instead of like 7 to 8 like double vodka cokes or something like that. I am a part of a sports team which are notorious for big socials and heavy drinking and like peer pressure and things like that. At least at my university that doesn't really exist. No one forces anyone to drink. It is not as scary as it seems. I am social secretary for my university for my sports team. So I'm in charge of socials and I never feel pressured to drink at them. There have been people on the team who don't drink at all. Everyone is very understanding and welcoming of that, though I know not everyone can be like that. I find that if you're confident in yourself and what you believe in, then people can't really push you into doing something that you don't want to do. So if I say I don't want to drink, 9 times out of 10 after the second time of asking, people are just sort of like, okay, that's fair enough, and then just move on. They don't really care. Like I've definitely found that if I say I'm not drinking and everyone's like, why, like come on, just have a drink, I'm like, no, they'll be like, come on, I'll buy you a drink, I'll do this, I'll do that. Like people want you to drink. It's more of like they want you to have a good time with them, and not everyone can understand that you don't need alcohol to have a good time. Like you don't. I've gone to the club sober so many times, but I do drive, so sometimes if I'm not drinking, I'll drive to the club, and then that way it means I definitely don't drink. I can have an early night and I can drive home safely, and I can take other people home, which is great. So like usually even if I'm not driving, sometimes people will not understand why I'm not drinking, but I'll just say, oh, I'm driving, or oh, I'm on medication, and as soon as I've said that, like 100% of the time people are like, okay, that's fair. Like no one questions it. So like you shouldn't really have to like make excuses that aren't true of why you don't want to drink. But if you don't feel comfortable yet around the people you're with, or you don't want people to make a fuss or a hassle, there are some things you can say to sort of get people to just back off a little bit. I don't like wasting a day. I am the kind of person now, as a 21-year-old, I feel like I'm like 50. I like to be in bed by 10, clean, watch some ugly Betty on the TV, drink my bottle of water, go to sleep and get up at 7 and start my day. I don't like wasting a day, and that's like the biggest thing for me. I don't like wasting time. So like me not drinking doesn't get in the way of me hanging out with my friends, or like I don't miss out on social events or occasions or anything because I'm still going, but I know when to say no, and I'm around a bunch of people that can respect and understand that, which makes it so much easier. But I've gone to the club sober before. It's more of a confidence thing. Like when you're sober in a club, you're just sort of like, oh my god, this is really embarrassing, I don't want to dance, but literally like no one is looking at me, no one cares. And then after I remember that, I'm like, let's do it, and it's fine, it's fun, it's actually quite interesting. It's like going to a club sober is really hilarious because you realise that drunk adults are just toddlers, and it's so much fun. I know this was a bit of a ramble and more of like a little story time and chat about my experience, but I hope there's some things in here that can sort of help you change your perspective if you're someone that feels like they always need to drink and doesn't understand. Maybe now you can understand why not everyone likes to drink. Or if you feel like you're being pressured to drink, I hope this video sort of helped give you some tips or some new ideas of things you can try or do, or sort of think about who you're with and the environments you're with, if you're comfortable enough. Yeah, and if anyone has any questions, leave them down below in the comments. I'll be having a look at them. But also check out my own social media. I make YouTube videos twice a week on my channel. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.